Welcome back to Veterans Field here in Chatham, Massachusetts. No score between the Anglers and Firebirds here on Independence Day, the 4th of July, and couldn't be a better situation on the 4th of July than a little bit of baseball between the Firebirds and Anglers. Josh White, Braden Bell here on the call, and the sun beginning to set just over the left field wall here at Veterans Field. We'll see if the Firebirds can get the bats going with a little bit of fireworks here on the 4th of July as J.J. Blade will lead things off for Orleans. Birds still in search of their first hit on the evening against Davis Daniel, who has looked very good so far through his first 3 innings of work. Luckily for the Firebirds, Andrew Abbott has been able to hold serve and do his end of the bargain as well. Only 2 hits allowed, but really no threat as the Anglers haven't had a runner reach second base. First pitch of the 4th inning into J.J. Blade, low and outside for ball number 1. J.J. in a little bit of a slump for the first time of the summer, now 0 for his last 9. The average still outstanding despite that at .353 through his first 12 games. He's going to swing away, foul it off, back to the net, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. But when you're a great hitter like Blade, obviously, you're going to go through slumps. It's the game of baseball. It's a law of averages. You're not going to be up all the time, but it's about coming out of these slumps, and we'll see if JJ do that here tonight as the 1-1 pitch is low, and JJ's ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike.
I think the other thing with JJ, too, is obviously playing in the SEC, a very good baseball conference, but now you're facing the best pitchers night in and night out, and it's how you adjust to that.
2 SEC guys going at it right now in an Auburn Tiger and Vanderbilt Commodore. Blade will swing away and again foul it off back to the net for the second straight pitch. The count now goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Firebird number 2 hole hitter, and that's a spot he's become very comfortable in for Kelly Nicholson as this lineup starting to cement itself each and every day, at least at the top 5 hitters, now the same for 4 days in a row. Here comes the 2-2 delivery. Blade, a slow chopper, going to be a tough play by Fryman, the shortstop. He gets it just in time. Blade thought he was safe. It certainly was a close play, but a nice turn by Fryman for the first out of the 4th.
Just beat J.J. Blade by about half a step over at first base, and the difference in that play was the shortstop Fryman charging that baseball. If he had sat back and waited, Blade would have beat that out for an infield single.
So now Spencer Steer will dig in for Orleans, the young man out of the University of Oregon, and he has really excelled in the 3 hole for this Firebird team as the first pitch into Steer is a strike on the outside corner. Steer a .314 average through his first 16 games so far, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. Was 0 for 3 last night, trying to pick up the first hit for the Firebirds here on the 4th of July as he looks at ball 1 low on a breaking ball from Daniel. Steer playing in his first Cape Cod season for the Firebirds, experiencing his 4th of July on the Cape for the first time as well, obviously, as he looks at strike 2 on the lower half. So smooth sailing so far for Davis Daniel. The only base runner to reach for Orleans came on a walk back in the 2nd inning as the 1-2 pitch to Steer, just a tad low. The appeal down to first, he did not go around, so Steer stays alive, and the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Really, the only knock you could have on Spencer Steer so far this summer is he hasn't hit well away from home. Entered the night just hitting .222 away from Eldridge, already with a strikeout tonight.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Steer, breaking ball that he's able to battle off, just foul off and stay alive. And that is a great point you mentioned. Obviously, the numbers at home are stunning. On the road, they've dipped a bit. He's .357 at home with 3 homers and 11 RBIs. So all but 1 RBI for Steer has come in Orleans, where the Birds will be back at home tomorrow night. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Steer. Another breaking ball that he's able to just waste, stay alive. The count stays at 2-2.
It's kind of funny enough, too, because you wouldn't necessarily say Eldridge Park is the most hitter-friendly park, if you will, with dead center being .434, and for whatever reason, it's been a friendly ballpark to Spencer Steer in the early going.
Home cooking indeed for Steer so far. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Steer. He's going to swing at a high fastball, set it out to the gap in left center field. But a diving grab made just short of the warning trap. Tip of the cap to Rave, who lays out his body and makes a great diving catch to rob Steer of extra bases. There's 2 away in the 4th.
Steer gave that ball a ride, but Rave made a fantastic catch to rob Steer of extra bases. And after we're kind of talking about how Spencer Steer doesn't hit the ball too well on the road, he definitely put some charge into that one. But Rave makes the diving catch through the air to rob Steer of extra bases.
So the first piece of fine contact for Orleans is robbed on a fantastic diving catch by Rave. There's now 2 away, and Logan Wyatt will try to get it going for Orleans as he looks at a fastball low in the zone for ball number 1. Logan, a strikeout victim at his first AB. And as you mentioned, Josh, in his first AB, it was very odd. He reached all 4 times last night against Falmouth as he looks at strike 1 of the inside half. But really only 1 plate appearance. He was 1 for 1 with 3 walks, and that just adds to the storyline of his fantastic eye at the plate. He truly does believe a walk is as good as a base hit as he looks at ball 2 low. Now he's in another good hitter's count at 2 balls and a strike.
And Kelly Nicholson loves that about the kid. He raves about him whenever he talks about, this is what makes Logan Wyatt such a great hitter. He tells that to scouts, tells that to Logan's teammates. If you can take a small piece of Logan's game, you could be another level up in the hitting scale.
The 2-1 pitch to Wyatt, a fastball that just barely missed the zone, and now it's 3 balls and a strike. And you mentioned how he really is selfless. He's described as the ultimate teammate at Louisville, his college, during the majority of the spring and early parts of the summer, and he's carried that over into Orleans as well. Really just an all-around great kid as the 3-1 pitch delivered. Swings away, an opposite field fly ball, back to the warning track, of the catch is made by Rave at the base of the track for out number 3. So the Birds put together a few good ABs, unable to produce a hit though, and the Birds now no hits through 4. We'll head to the home half as the Chatham Anglers try to get something going. It'll be Rave, English, and Fogel. 2 up next. You're listening to Firebird Baseball on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Veterans Field. As I mentioned, it is Independence Day, and because of that, we'll intro each bottom half of the middle innings with a fun fact about the 4th of July or something you might not have known to keep it interesting. The first one being the Declaration of Independence. Now, of course, Congress made the Independence Day an official holiday back in 1870. But some fun facts you might not have known about that. Only 2 men signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. John Hancock, everyone knows him, and Charles Hanson. All others signed later, after July 4th, the holiday we celebrate. It was signed by 56 men from 13 colonies. The author, Thomas Jefferson, was only 33 at the time. So there is your fun fact number 1 of the evening, as Andrew Abbott back out on the hill for Orleans, trying to navigate his way through another half of the Chatham heart of the lineup as the lefty from Virginia throws his first pitch, a breaker just outside for ball 1 to John Rave, who made a fine play to rob Spencer Steer of extra bases just a half an inning ago. Abbott delivers the 1-0 pitch, another curveball that Rave just dances over the top of, and it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Rave, a Midwest kid, attends Illinois State, originally from Bloomington. And he delivers strike 2. So Bloomington, Illinois native, and attends Illinois State, and that's ran in the family. His mom was an ISU grad. His grandpa was a professor at Illinois State, pardon me. As the 1-2 pitch from Abbott, a ground ball to the right side that Aldretti fields on a candy hop, delivers the throw in time, and easy out number 1 at the bottom of the 4th.
Aldretti has looked very sound defensively all season long for Orleans at second base. Made a fine defensive play earlier in the game. Now handles that one very easily. That's now 5 in a row retired by Andrew Abbott.
So the DH, Tristan English, will step in. Struck out, and the only strikeout victim so far for Andrew Abbott. We'll dig back in. English has been one of the best players in the Cape so far this summer as he swings away on the first pitch, pops it up. It'll be an easy play by the shortstop, Gazzo. A step back into the outfield grass, and they're now 2 away. As Andrew Abbott, after a bumpy start a bit, was able to work through the trouble. In the past 2 innings has looked very calm and working through this Anglers lineup with ease.
Yeah, and that wasn't the first time Abbott has seen Tristan English this season, so he probably had a good scouting report on English. Virginia and Georgia Tech faced off in mid-May, so Abbott probably had plenty of time to evaluate what English brought to the box, and despite him swinging a hot bat, 0 for 2 already tonight.
Now it's Adam Fogel who will step in. A single right up the middle at his first AB. He looks at ball 1 low and in the dirt. You want to talk about travel. He spends his college days in Honolulu, Hawaii, playing for the Rainbow Warriors, all the way out, thousands of miles away now on Cape Cod, the far east part of Cape Cod in Chatham. See if he can go to 2 for 2 as he drops to a knee, swings over the top of a breaking ball from Abbott. The count now 1 ball and 1 strike. No score here between the Firebirds and the Anglers, the first of 6 meetings between these 2 teams this summer. The second will come tomorrow night at Eldridge Park. A swing and a foul tip. The count now 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Abbott just 1 pitch away from getting through his 4th inning of work. No action in the Firebird bullpen so far. We told you in the open that 4 good innings from Abbott would be a great sign. 5 would be a cherry on top. It looks like as of right now, he might be able to get to that 5th if he can retire Vogel right here. The southpaw from UVA kicks and fires the 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. A strikeout for Abbott, his second of the night. And we remain scoreless as we're through 4 here at Veterans Field in Chatham, Massachusetts. A pitcher's duel on the 4th of July. Nothing more you could want. We'll be right back as the Birds will try to get something going. Osborne, Frazier, Aldretti do up next. You're listening to Firebird Baseball on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Veterans Field here in Chatham, Massachusetts. New pitcher out there for the Anglers, and a sigh of relief if you're a Firebird after Davis Daniel no-hit the Birds for the first 4 innings of this ballgame. It's Hunter Gaddis, the young man out of Georgia State. He'll take over on the mound for the Anglers, and so far on the season for Gaddis, through 3 games, 1 start, 9 innings pitched. He has a 4 flat ERA, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. So the right-hander will try to face Osborne, Frazier, and Aldretti as we start the 5th inning. But because it is the 5th, I'm now joined by our sideline reporter, Eliav Gabay, with a special edition of Bird Chirp, holiday-themed, if you will. You had the chance to chat with multiple Firebirds before the game tonight about their favorite holiday traditions, stories from the 4th. So what do you got?
So I interviewed Carter Aldretti, Sal Gazzo, Shea Smitty, Kevin Kelly, Ricky Martinez. We'll start with Carter. You know, Carter's all about summer ball at this point. You know, that's what they do, and I talked about the activities he likes the most. Definitely summer ball, and in the past, it's all been about baseball. We know his family's history with baseball and all that, so it's been all about playing ball together, you know, eating some burgers, hot dogs, you know, very OG July 4th.
As Nick Osborne steps in, and a very uncomfortable swing on a fastball for strike number 1. It moves to 0-1. Osborne, the young man from Tennessee Tech, is 0 for 1. Ground ball to second base, his first AB. Pops this one up down the first base line, and that'll drip foul. It's now 0-2.
And as far as Shea Smitty, it's also pretty similar. You know, he loves the good old burgers and dogs, but he has to find a body of water. Has to find one at some point during July 4th. That was a must. And he used to love shooting fireworks with his family friend in their backyard, and that was just a tradition for him. Also, Sal Gazzo was my favorite one because not only does he eat 3 patty burgers, at least 2 of them, every single 4th of July, but he remembered a great story.
The 0-2 pitch, strike 3 called on the outside corner. Osborne's retired looking, and a good start to the night for Hunter Gaddis. One away in the top of the 5th.
With his big Italian family, you know, they love to play baseball together or wiffle ball more specifically, every single 4th of July, and he remembers when he hit a walk-off, a 3-run jack off of his twin brother to get the win for his side of the family, if you will, and he said he'll never forget that one, so I wouldn't either.
You got to have bragging rights against your brother. You can relate to that,
Yeah.
And that's always a sibling rivalry, both obviously D1 college baseball players. So a big-time get for Sal Gazzo as ball 1 delivered to Matt Frazier, the only base runner to reach so far for Orleans, as Matty swings away, fouls it off back towards us to equal up the count at 1-1.
And just a couple more here. Kevin Kelly, you know, is a simple man. He just likes his cornhole and relaxing with friends and family.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, of course. But, and that's all he really loves about July 4th, just, you know, hanging out with friends and family. And like you said, who doesn't love to do that? And good for him. Now, Ricky Martinez had a funny one for us. He said his old tradition was after playing baseball with his buddies, they would ding-dong ditch across the entire neighborhood and have a good time doing that with everyone.
The 1-2 pitch to Frazier, a lazy ground ball fielded by the second baseman Woolley over to first in time. 2 up, 2 down here in the Orleans half of the 5th.
And, you know, it made sense when he said he doesn't know how much his friend's parents appreciated that, but he loved it, of course. And you know, most people, as we've already heard, love, you know, the traditional hot dogs and hamburgers for 4th of July. But no, in Ricky Martinez's family, he loves that Mexican food. You know, chips and sauce, a little bit of queso, never hurt anybody. And that's all I got for you guys. But, wow, I just love talking to these guys about anything other than baseball to show how human they are to the people.
So Carter Aldretti, who needs a body of water, you say, Eliav, steps into the box right now for Orleans. After 9 straight Firebirds have been set down in order. Eliav, great stuff as always. We thank you for joining us here on the 4th of July as the 1-0 pitch into Aldretti, low and in the dirt for ball number 2.
It's always fun to see the human factor, Braden, of, I mean, obviously they're baseball players, they're college kids, they're in their late teens, early 20s, and it's always cool to see what they would be doing if they weren't here on Cape Cod.
2-0 to Carter Aldretti, who swings away, sends a high fly ball out to left field, is playable, and is caught by Rave to retire the side. Birds still searching for their first hit. We're through 5 frames of offense for Orleans. We are still scoreless here at Veterans Field. We'll head to the bottom of the half. Halfway home here at Veterans Field, and a pitcher's duel on the 4th of July. Scoreless here in Chatham, Massachusetts. 4th of July, I promised you a fact each bottom half of the middle innings. Now we'll move on to the flag. It sits still right now in center field, but the flag is something you got to talk about on the 4th of July, obviously. Well, the flag's been through a lot. It's been changed a lot over the course of history. The flag temporarily had 15 stars and 15 stripes. It started with 13 for the colonies, of course. So it went to 15 stars, 15 stripes after Vermont and Kentucky joined. It changed as more states were added, obviously, but people don't often know about the 15. They often see the 13 and the jump to 16 and so on and so forth. They moved it to 15 for a while. That is a forgotten part of history as we're set to start the bottom of the 5th inning here at Veterans Field. And it is Andrew Abbott back out there for the Firebirds. Josh, you're really wanting to say something right now, so I'll let you go ahead and say it. What do you got? No, please. It's the first pitch delivered of the bottom of the 5th in there for strike number 1. I'm dying to hear what you say.
How about 25 dots on the back of a mound that we saw at Eldridge Park last night?
That was also a crude representation of Old Glory, I guess we can call it, as the 0-1 pitch from Abbott, a ground ball to the left side, fielded by Gazzo, a fine play, and a strong throw over to Logan Wyatt in time for out number 1. So the Birds' offense has been completely dormant, but luckily for Orleans, Andrew Abbott has also been great. It's now 8 straight Chatham batters retired, and this truly is the definition of a pitcher's duel so far tonight.
Yeah, it's now 10 retired in a row by the Chatham staff, 8 retired in a row by Abbott. We saw him go 5 innings last time into his 5th inning of work now. We'll see how long Kelly Nicholson will leave him out there.
It's Michael Bush, the young man from North Carolina, just his 2nd game of the summer. And in his first game last night, he dazzled, had a home run, had 3 RBIs. In a game that Chatham exploded against the Harwich Mariners. The 0-1 pitch to Bush, another breaking ball that loops in there for strike number 2. And Andrew Abbott, a quiet kid, a very friendly kid. But we talked about this in the open, kind of a guy that you sensed would seize this moment of pitching on July 4th in front of a big crowd here in Chatham. And so far, he's done a great job of doing just that. This game remains scoreless, only 2 hits for the Anglers. The 0-2 pitch from Abbott runs outside. The count now goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes to another ACC guy in Michael Bush. So Virginia and North Carolina represented, and a Miami Hurricane here at the broadcast booth. Got to be proud of that, yeah? The 1-2 pitch, swung out and missed. Abbott, another dazzler of a breaking ball for his 3rd K of the night. There's 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. And the Firebirds starting pitcher here on the 4th of July has looked as good as we've seen him all summer.
Andrew Abbott is absolutely dealing right now. That's 9 retired in a row, a big strike out of one of the best hitters in the country, and he made Michael Bush look foolish.
So 2 away now in the bottom of the 5th. It'll be Nick Cale out of the Pacific Northwest, Washington, one of the fun stories of college baseball this season. It looked like they were a bubble team for a long time, ended up in Omaha as Cale rips a ball to the left side. It is robbed by Spencer Steer, the throw in time, and a blind pick by Steer ends the frame. A defensive battle continues here in Chatham. We're through 5 full innings. Scoreless. 2 goose eggs up on the scoreboard here at Veterans Field. We'll head now to the 6th inning. As the Birds still in search of their first hit, it'll be Free the second. Gazzo and DeMarco do it for the Firebirds. You're listening to Orleans Firebirds Baseball on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. On to the 6th we go here at Veterans Field. Chatham and Orleans, the finest rivalry in all of the CCBL. And so far, it's been a fine pitching performance from Andrew Abbott, Davis Daniel, and Hunter Gaddis in his first inning of work. It'll be James Free the second leading things off for Orleans. The big switch-hitting catcher will try to get things going. Playing his college ball at Pacific. Batting .209 so far through his first 13 games. And the switch-hitting catcher will try to get something going. Swing it away, fouls it off the top of the mask of the catcher, Cale, for strike number 1. James grounded out to shortstop and his only AB so far here tonight in the 3rd inning. And like I mentioned last inning, the only base runner to reach so far for Orleans was a walk by Matt Frazier back in the 2nd. The 0-1 pitch from Gaddis swung on, and it will be a foul tip off the leg of Free the second. It's now 0-2. So only one base runner for Orleans. On the other end, Chatham, they've had 4. One was on an error, a single, fielder's choice, and another single, but they have not had a base runner reach second base. So either way you slice it, it has been a masterful pitching performance by both sides. Free the second in an 0-2 hold. Meanwhile, there is action out there in the Orleans bullpen, so Abbott's night could be done. Here comes the 0-2 delivery, a breaking ball that'll be fouled off out of play, and it stays at 0-2.
I could be mistaken, but it looks like Kevin Kelly is the right-hander getting loose from James Madison University.
It is Kelly out there throwing. So the sidewinder for Orleans looks like he might have the ball in the bottom of the 6th inning. If it is the end, Andrew Abbott really did dazzle for Kelly Nicholson and company. The 0-2 pitch to James Free the second. A blooper that is caught by the first baseman Bush right on the foul line for out number 1. And Orleans still in search of that first elusive base hit of the night.
And 11 hitters in a row retired by this Chatham staff. It started with Davis Daniel, who went 4 shutout, did not allow a run or a hit for that matter, and now it's turned on to Hunter Gaddis, who's been exceptional as well.
So Sal Gazzo, the shortstop, who's in about as bad as a slump as you will see here on Cape Cod. 1 for his last 22. Trying to break out of that right here. The shortstop looks at strike 1 on a big looping curveball from Hunter Gaddis, and it's 0-1. We saw a similar story between Orleans and Falmouth about a week ago as the Firebirds were no-hit into this 6th inning before they got a hit off the bat of Justin Levy. The 0-1 pitch to Gazzo, another breaking ball that swings over the top of, and it's 0-2. That game only lasted an hour and 54 minutes and a 1-0 loss. There was a total of 5 hits between the Commodores and Firebirds. So far, only 2 hits between the Anglers and Firebirds tonight. Still no score. The 0-2 pitch. Gazzo looks at a fastball inside. He ducks out of the way of, and it's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Sal Gazzo out of Tulane. Ellie, I've told you about that walk-off homer he hit in wiffle ball against his twin brother as his favorite 4th of July memory. There's a ground ball down the first base line. It's going to be a flip to the pitcher Gaddis in time to beat out Gazzo for the second out of the inning.
Always got to love those sibling rivalries, and that kind of continues for Sal now and his brother Paul. His twin brother Paul did play at Tulane his freshman year, but decided to transfer to UConn, so those two will get to face each other this upcoming season on the baseball diamond once again.
Back up to the top of the lineup now with 2 away in the 6th inning. It's Pat DeMarco, who is 0 for 2 so far, a strikeout in his last AB, and Pat will be looking to break this streak of 12 straight Firebirds retired in order by the Chatham staff, and that is not quite exactly what we expected, but we shouldn't really be surprised. Chatham leads the league in ERA, in strikeouts, and walks, and also in averaged against. So they're a very good pitching team as DeMarco swings over the top of a fastball that goes to 1-1. So the Anglers have been pitching extremely well so far through their first 18 games here on the season. Here comes the 1-1 to DeMarco, a fastball that catches the inside part of the plate. And now Gaddis, 1 strike away from working through his second straight scoreless frame where he's not allowed a hit. He's picked up where Davis Daniel left off. Gaddis kicks and fires the 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball that just missed outside. The count now equals up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pat DeMarco trying to break out of another slump as he's found himself in. That average dipped down to 269 now after he started off red hot when he joined the team 15 games ago. The 2-2 pitch to DeMarco. Swung on, a looper in there for a base hit over the jumping glove of Fryman. The first base hit of the night comes off the bat of Pat DeMarco, who takes a wide turn around first base. And finally, here in the top of the 6th, the Firebirds break through with a single.
Chatham looked practically untouchable those 5+ first innings, and just Orleans not able to get the bats around, and now it's DeMarco who bloops one over the shortstop's head. And we saw it last time the Firebirds against Bourne. They picked up 1 hit, spiraled into 2, 3, a couple of errors. That's how rallies get started. We'll see if Orleans can do that here tonight.
So J.J. Blade will dig in for Orleans. He's due for a base hit. Now just 0 for his last 10 as he looks at strike 1 on the inside part of the plate. J.J., a rare slump, and As I mentioned his last at bat, that just goes to show how hard this game really is. The best of the best go through slumps. It's about how you recover out of them. That's what makes a good player great. That's what JJ's trying to do right now. DeMarco stands at first, very good speed, so a ball in the gap could be trouble and perhaps get the Firebirds on the scoreboard as Blade fouls it off over the netting. A souvenir for a fan here on Independence Day, and it's now 0-2 to the right fielder for Orleans, J.J. Blade. Panama City Beach, Florida native, attends Vanderbilt's. Trying to get the Firebirds going with their first real rally of the night. Gaddis comes set, looks back to DeMarco, now throws over. A head-first slide, DeMarco's safe, and the count stays at 0-2.
And Kevin Kelly, who was warming up earlier this inning for the Firebirds, not tossing out there in the right field bullpen, so potentially Andrew Abbott for the first time this season could come out to start the top of the sixth, or the bottom of the sixth, I beg your pardon.
The 0-2 pitch into Blade, froze him on a breaking ball, but apparently just missed, says John Smerald, the home plate umpire. Ball one called against Blade. Abbott's been fantastic on the mound for Orleans, but he normally is a reliever at Virginia, not used to starting. So it would be a big-time storyline if he returns out there in the sixth inning. Blade trying to give him some run support. Another throw over to check on DeMarco. He's safely back in there. As two Vanderbilt Commodores for Orleans, or as we like to call them, the Vandy Birds, trying to get something going. But two away in the top of the sixth inning. DeMarco just picked up the first hit of the night for Orleans. Can Blade pick up the first extra base hit of the night? 1 ball, 2 strikes. DeMarco off and running. It's in the dirt. He's going to slide into second safely. A stolen bag for Pat DeMarco, and the Birds have another runner in scoring position. Off of the stolen bag from Pat DeMarco. And now J.J. Blade has a bird in the nest with 2 away in the sixth.
Yeah, I love the decision by Pat DeMarco there. It's hard to obviously bring a run home from first base, but with good speed, he swipes his 3rd stolen base of the season. And now all Blade needs to do is hit another single. And what's been a pitcher's duel here at Veterans Field, that could potentially be the difference in the game if Blade delivers here.
2 balls, 2 strikes, a runner at second base here in the top of the sixth inning. Gaddis looks back to DeMarco, kicks and fires into Blade. Sends it the other way. It'll go foul into the Anglers bullpen. And we'll do it all over again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. JJ, a wild ride of a season for him at Vanderbilt. Missed more than 5 weeks this season with a severely strained oblique muscle. Fully healthy now. A great sign for everyone, especially for Orleans. The 2-2 pitch into him. Just battled off a tough breaking ball. A fine swing to just waste a pitch there and stay alive at 2-2. That was a great bender by Hunter Gaddis. The velocity change on the breaking ball is evident to the naked eye. And a good job by Blade to just stay alive. Gaddis trying to get out of the first real jam of the night for Chatham. DeMarco stands at second. The 2-2 pitch into J.J. Blade. Popped up in the infield. It's playable. Shallow outfield, and the second baseman will get called off by Fogel, the right fielder, who makes the catch for out number 3. That does it for the Birds here in the sixth. Orleans finally picks up their first hit of the night, but they strand a runner in scoring position, and we remain scoreless as we head to the bottom of the sixth inning. Chatham and Orleans in a pitcher's duel. A new pitcher out there for the Birds. We'll introduce you to Kevin Kelly coming up next on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Time for the home half of the sixth inning here in Chatham, and a new pitcher out there for the Firebirds. It's Kevin Kelly for Orleans. So far this season in 6 appearances, 12 1/3 innings pitched. A 2.91 ERA, a fantastic walk-to-strikeout ratio, 11 Ks compared to just 1 free pass. But his last outing was a bit of a struggle against Bourne on Sunday, an inning and 2/3. He gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs. No walks, 2 strikeouts. So he'll look to keep this shutout intact and keep this game tied, more importantly. Andrew Abbott, the starter, was fantastic for Orleans.
Yeah, the southpaw from Virginia did a tremendously well job, a superb job, if you will. 5 shutout innings, 2 hits, no walks, 3 Ks. And what might be one of his last starts in the Orleans staff, he's kind of nearing that pitch limit for the summer.
5 innings, like you said, just those 2 hits. Kelly's throwing his final warm-up tosses. That means our final fun fact of the night here on Independence Day. And Josh, you've said you've known the first 2. We'll see if you know this one as well. So the 50-star flag, as it stands right now in center field and not moving at all on a gorgeous night here in Chatham, is the first flag in the United States of America to last 50 years. In contrast to a 50-year period in the early 1800s, the flag went through 17 changes. So it's been held current in its form as it stands right now for over 50 years. It was changed 17 times in the early 1800s. So an interesting fun fact about Old Glory and how it stands right now as Kevin Kelly throws a strike. First pitch in to Jorge Arenas. It's actually a pinch hitter in there for Chatham. It's going to be Blake Sabol, young man from USC, to bat for the Anglers against Kevin Kelly, the James Madison side-armed reliever who delivers ball one low into Sabol as we lead off things here in the 6th inning. So Blake Sabol, the left-handed batter against the right-handed reliever. The move makes sense from Tom Holliday. He fouls it off. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Sabol trying to get something going for Chatham. Even though they have 2 hits, they've almost had less threatening innings than Orleans has just because they haven't had a runner reach second. The 1-2 pitch to Sabol just a hair outside. Kelly thought he had strike 3. Instead, it's ball 2.
And you're talking about the early pinch hit move decision by Tom Holliday, and I like the move. The other reason why he can do it is he has 6 other guys still available off the bench. Orleans only with 3 available off the bench tonight.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Sabol fouls it off down the first base line, and you mentioned how many hitters they have on the bench. We noticed during batting practice it was like an entire army out there for the Anglers, and also in last night's game. They featured every single player available in that big-time win over the Harwich Mariners. So Holliday not afraid to dig into his bench, and Sabol the first one out of the unit as he looks at ball 3 on a breaking ball that just misses outside, and the count now runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sun beginning to set here in Chatham. A periwinkle sky paints the night here on 4th of July as Kelly delivers another fastball that's wasted over the net. The count remains full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. You did the numbers last night on leadoff walks and how dangerous they can be for Orleans. So this really is a big pitch, as every pitch matters in a close pitcher's duel, even more so when there's only 3 combined hits. The last thing you want to do is issue a free pass.
On 11 different occasions this summer, Orleans has walked the leadoff batter to begin an inning. 8 runs have come around to score in those instances.
And it really does make sense. It seems like the leadoff walk always comes back to bite you no matter what level of baseball you're in. It's been the same story for Orleans. Here comes the payoff pitch into Sabol. Ground ball to the right side. Aldretti will field it easily. The throw to wide in time, so no leadoff walk tonight for Kevin Kelly. Instead, it's a ground ball to Aldretti, and it will be 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. So another pinch hitter in there for Chatham. Right on cue, another USC Trojan in Ben Ramirez. So 2 straight Southern California Trojans will bat for the Chatham Anglers, as Tom Holliday just looking for someone who can produce offensively. Kelly ahead 0-1 to Ramirez, who's in there for the Anglers. Left-handed batter against the right-handed side-armed pitcher out of James Madison. He foul tips it into the glove of Free the second, and it's 0-2. Ramirez from Eastlake High School in Chula Vista, California, 6'3", 190. In his freshman season, had 9 multi-hit games for USC, so he is very productive. The 0-2 pitch from Kelly, another ground ball to the right side that another Pac-12 representee in this league, Carter Aldretti, fields and makes the throw over in time. 2 up, 2 down in the bottom of the 6th, and the same story with a new pitcher so far for Orleans. 2 easy ground balls to start his first inning of relief.
That's now 11 in a row retired, 12 in a row retired by the Orleans staff right now. And like you're talking about, Kevin Kelly continuing the nice job that Andrew Abbott did. We have some news to report. Obviously, big people want to know who won the parade contest today.
As the first pitch is a strike in there to leadoff batter Greg Jones, who is 0 for 2. Anyways, back to the parade news. This is big.
So in the non-profit division, the Orleans Firebirds float.
As ball 1 delivered outside. You're holding people. Just say the news. I need to know.
Finished in first place.
Wow.
The gold trophy in the Orleans July 4th parade.
Big credit to everyone with the Firebirds staff putting together a fine float. A surprise victory, if you will, the 1-1 pitch outside corner for strike number 2. There were some doubters in attendance that did not believe it could be done, but here we are. The Firebirds with a trophy in their hands. Proud to be part of history here on OFPN. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kelly kicks and fires. Breaking ball, strike 3. Jones chased it out of the zone. Free the second will make the throw down to first in time. Kevin Kelly very strong in his first inning of relief. Now 13 straight Anglers retired in the ultimate pitcher's duel. We are scoreless through 6 complete innings. Which team will break through first? The Firebirds will have their chance coming up next as Josh White will take back over at play-by-play here on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.